All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the Monday Night Football Showdown show. This week, we got the Cowboys and the Chargers, but before we get to that, it's a very special edition. I've got Hoop here with me, as always. I know Title's still working on that internet, so we'll see, but I got to bring in the man, the myth, the legend right now, and a crazy run, super heater, not just the Millie yesterday, but a couple 100K scores before this. Dalton, I'll bring you in, Mr. D Dry on DraftKings, getting the job done yesterday, winning the $20 millionaire maker for $1 million up top. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, happy to have you here, man. Thanks for joining us. And so quickly, you look very refreshed. You get an IV in you or something like that? Like,
I got the post-win glow going.
The post-win glow. We talked a little pre-show about it, and you said that you were almost in shock from it. We'll get the whole breakdown on it and everything like that. Hoop. Before I do bring you in, man, what's going on this Monday? We got a special show here, and maybe we'll try and get Title back into the mix too. But it's unlike our Discord. This is going to be one strike. Even though he's my boy, it's a one strike and he's out. We'll fix the overlays here because we need good internet today for this one.
I agree on one strike.
I got to give our guy Dalton some credit because the day after I won the Millie, I sure as hell didn't look like he looked. He looks in phenomenal shape. I mean, I was hungover, barely could move, but I did rally. We had a little celebration the night after. But in terms of the win and the heater here, it is, I've been doing this for a while and you just don't see this very often. I think he can verify the numbers, but I'm fairly certain it was like a $80,000 or $90,000 win and then $111,000 win within the last week. And then yesterday hits the Millie and, I saw people on our Discord talking about it, congratulating. And I was like, he must have won another 100,000. This guy's on the absolute heater. Nope. Wins the big dog Millie. And it's just an incredible story. I mean, absolutely incredible story in the span, I believe it. Again, verify all the details, but the span of like 8 to 9 days, this all occurred. And it's so cool to see. And I mean, very honored to have him as a part of our community here at SHIPIT Nation.
Yeah, definitely amazing title. I'll let you hop into, and then we'll get to the question and answer segment here. It's gonna be like 21 questions for Dalton, but I talked to him last night a little bit. I think there's a cool story, a couple of cool things he's got to talk about. But Title, your internet's working, man. You're here. What's going on? Another Monday night to break it all down.
Yeah, another Monday night. Hopefully it all holds back. The Wi-Fi's up. Hopefully it stays that way. But man, if not, Dalton, you guys got a guy that has won a lot more money than me recently and all time in DFS in Dalton. So a great third piece to chime in. But yeah, I'm really excited to hear your story. I heard a little bit before the show how you used the content, how you got to some of your teams. Had a couple other good teams too. But man, what a heater, and enjoy every second of it because the downswings are inevitable, as you always know. But enjoy the heaters of the last because insane, man, insane.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dalton, maybe verify Hoop's numbers first. Just tell us again, because I remember for sure, like we've been posting about it, was, a showdown hit, another big one. You popped in the Discord, said, hey, boys, did it again, and we were like, oh, man, this guy's crazy. And then yesterday just adds even another level. But what has this run been like? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's been crazy. So last Sunday, I won the $1,500 single entry for $100K. And then I think total on that slate, I won like $108,000 maybe. And then Monday night for the showdown, I won a couple, maybe 8,000. And then Thursday night, I split the millie on the showdown and came away with like 113,000. So going into this yesterday, I had won like 221,000 or something. And honestly, I was just like, yeah, I'm going to play just because I love doing it. And I wanted to watch the games and obviously be a part of it. So threw some lineups in, and then the end of the afternoon slates, I checked, and obviously I was following it, but I had won the millie. So It's been crazy. It's been a definitely crazy Sunday to Sunday 7-day span.
7 days.
It's wild, man. It was the game changer. I remember, you kicked it off with the $1,500 single entry game changer. I got so many questions. I want to start one place. So, I mean, if you guys are just joining us, do us a favor on the way in. We need 1 million likes on this show for the D-Dry won. So we got to get this for Dalton. But Dalton, I want to ask you something. Maybe if we can, do a couple places we'll go with this. But one for sure I wanted to ask you is, people talk about these heaters, and we talk about them in sports too. And we know momentum is a big thing. And are they real and all this? Did you stick to your same process yesterday as a usual Sunday? And not about just buy-ins and bankroll, like that's part of it for sure. Did you notice anything different, like because of the high that you've been on running off these other wins, that you could think you could translate over? Or did you just do it as normal? Did you feel lazier because you were feeling good about the money? Tell us a little bit about putting in these lineups for Sunday.
Yeah. So after I'd won the last Sunday, going into this past week, I was like, okay, like I won. So there's not as much, like I wasn't stressing it as much as far as like caring that much. So when I won again, I was like, okay, this is just, the odds of this aren't great. So me and all my boys and family and stuff, we were laughing because we're like, what are the odds I win it twice in a week? And so then I went to my buddy's ranch Saturday and just was hanging out and stuff, came home late Saturday night, woke up Sunday, and I was like, yeah, I'll throw some lineups in. So did the same thing. I went obviously to SHIPIT Nation, and I was telling you all, I used the DVP. I used all the core reports, the slate plans, slate info, did all that. And then Twitter, I use a bunch of stuff on Twitter and consume a bunch of content throughout the week. So I had an idea of where I wanted to go with my lineups. So when I was building, I was just like, yeah, I was kind of honestly, I was more conservative after I won than I had been in the past with bankroll and stuff. So I really didn't play as much as I normally do. And so that's what's ironic in the whole thing. But yeah, so.
Yeah, it's wild. Just the way you talk about, like you said, I think it's more like a clear head, clear mind kind of helps. But you told me that too, that in the past you'd had some other wins and things like that. I'll let Hoopster hop in and ask some questions. But I mean, you said like you'd had some wins in the past and you went a little bit heavy with the bankroll thereafter. Yeah. So now you're for sure hopping in that way. Hoop, you can hop in here now. And
that was the question that I actually had. I kind of wrote down a few things that I wanted to ask. And prior to this little heater, what was your, biggest win and kind of how did you handle it? And that was, I guess we kind of alluded to that, but I'd like to hear that from you.
Yeah. So it was last November. I won the 100,000 in the NBA. I think it was the 555 maybe. Okay. And that was my first big win. I had won like a couple thousand here and there, but I had never come in first on anything. So once I won that, I was kind of under the impression that it was easy. And so my banker, like I started just firing lineups because I was new to it and I didn't understand all the ins and outs of it. So I ended up, I saved some obviously, but I lost more than I should have. So that lesson kind of helped me now in winning the big ones. So now I have an idea for it. I have a taste for it. So, but
I think that's something that, everyone that does this, professionally or just consistently, you run into those situations and there's no way around it. That's how you learn. I mean, even I've done it a million times where you get the big hits and you feel like you're on top of the world and, you feel like you can't lose and you start building these teams and it just feels like, you're putting together these masterpiece teams every time and you kind of go for it. But like, that's part of the evolution process. And I do think it's pretty interesting that going into the next biggest slate possible after two really big wins, you're like, you know what? I don't need to go for the kill today. I'm just going to have some fun and put some teams in there. Now, little did you know that would result in a $1 million win. Yeah. It's just, it's really, really cool. So Tambo, I'll toss it back over to you.
Yeah, the chat's getting fired up, and Todd, I'll let you hop in too in a sec. Just so what Steven said this. We're competitor friendly here, mostly, at least with our competitors. But you had said, like you mentioned, stochastic, 1 week season, our stuff. I prefer you talk about ours, but you said you use the DVP rankings on the site. You look at the stack rankings, the core reports, and that. You'd said pre-show that like you most of your hand builds or like your single entry stuff that you were working out, you're like, it wasn't even near the Ritter stuff, but it was like you said you look at the tidbits that I post on Twitter and some of the other stuff where that got you on London a little bit. You said, well, if I'm going with this, I might as well play Ritter. But you can talk more about specifically what you use. And like I said, competitor friendly for the most part. So you can talk about that too. Just people want to know your story more than SHIPIT Nation. It's just we're hosting the show.
Yeah. So obviously I'm a part of the SHIPIT Nation community. I enjoy the Discord. I get a lot of information out of the Discord. And then I use the site, so all the slate plans, slate info, all that, the DVP stuff. And then Twitter, I enjoy reading on Twitter, and there's a couple of guys I follow. But the tidbits put me on a lot of plays that I do throughout the week or weekend. And then I use Stochastic as well to help build some of my lineups when I do mass enter contest. But like for this slate on Sunday, I saw the tidbit on London. So I was way over the field on London. Like my exposure was super heavy on him. And then Cooper Kupp as well. After his first game, I thought he'd find the end zone and I thought he'd be a good play. And everyone was on Stafford. So I wanted to kind of get different by using Kyron and Stafford.
Yeah, all good. I'll pop it up there if you want to talk about it. Like everyone, if they don't know, this was the lineup. The craziest part about this, I'll start it off, is it was like 7.8 or something off the optimal. It ended up being a 3v3 away from the pure nuts on the slate yesterday, which is pretty incredible. I do those review shows every week, have for many years now on Mondays, breaking down things. And usually you're 30 to 50 away. There's some weeks that are closer than others, but this was very close, very sick. The lineup's incredible. I love it, but talk to the people a little bit about how this one came together, how you see it, at least from your point of view.
Yeah. So obviously London and Pitts were the game that I thought people weren't going to be on as much, and I thought it had potential to be a shootout. I didn't go with the run back, which we talked about, but in other lineups I did have the run back going for that. But that's how I got to Ritter, was through Pitts and London. And actually I called my dad that morning, and he plays a little bit, but not really. He just kind of watch his mind. But I was like, who do you like today? And he was like, man, I have a crazy stat for you. Ritter's 31-0 at home and blah, blah, blah.
Nice.
It's funny. That's the one I ended up on because he was with me when I had won. So we laughed about that. But Mostert, everyone was on him. It was there. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, I didn't think anyone would be on him, and he gets the volume. So I was kind of over the field, I think, a little bit on him. Just a volume guy. And then the Vikings, it was random. I have a buddy who plays for the Vikings, so I always play a little Vikings just because I watch some of their games. And then Shaheed, that was just a dart throw that happened to hit, and it was cool. Yeah. I think he had 2 catches, and they were both bombs. So that's what
it helped having him in there, though, 1% too. And we talked about it on the review show earlier. But even if you did want to run this back, people say, I would have ran it back with Curtis Samuel. If you did, you still would have won the millie. He was the same price as Shaheed. They were both right there. So I think overall very solid in that sense. But it does go to show.
I think this is a good point. Yeah, just to hop in real quick. So Atlanta they only scored 16 actual points, in this game. And that was the main reason that this lineup won. And it kind of goes to the slate overall, which, we talked about yesterday on the show, is like a lot of low totals. There's a lot of totals like mid 40s and below. It was not shaping up to be this crazy high scoring slate. That kind of ended up being the case. And a lot of these quarterbacks busted. Like Stafford was very popular. We talked about Stafford. We were all over Stafford. Did not have a good game. And there are other quarterbacks in good spots that just didn't have these big games. And it's pretty cool. I mean, the Falcons literally scored 16 points. And, that was the reason that this team won $1 million, the Atlanta Falcons. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, I was just going to say that because that's, I preach this every single week on our shows. People are constantly in the chat like, oh, that team total sucks. This team's the worst. Like, put it this way. Miami scored 42 and $7,600 Tua had 22 points. Ritter gets there at 22 with 16 points and brings along London for 24.5 and Pitts at 14 as a cheap tight end. So again, people oftentimes confuse that I need the big, the highest total, or that's the only way I can get there. And you found your way around it. So definitely good to see that.
Yeah.
Title, I'll let you hop in, man. You probably got some questions as well. You've been playing a long time, DFS in the streets. You know what's going on. What's your thoughts here?
I just wanted to mention one thing to Title too. So Title, at least somebody that we know, part of the SHIPIT community, got back some of our Drake London money from last season.
Yes, and a lot more for sure. So I'm happy with that. Drake London's on the good side now.
He's on the good side now.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I definitely got a couple questions. The first one, so just mainly like how you sweat it. Like, are you someone that watches all the games? You check your app throughout? Do you look at that? Do you just look at the end? Talk about that a bit first.
Yeah, so Sunday for me is that's my day. So obviously I dedicate a lot of it to watching NFL. It's my favorite sport to watch. So I'll Red Zone. I throw on Red Zone and I sit there and watch all the games. I try not to check my lineups that much throughout until the late games, because so much happens and you'll be in first place at the beginning and then you'll look up and you're not in the cash anywhere. So I don't really check the app that much until probably third, fourth quarter of the afternoon games. But yeah, Sundays, me and my dad, we get together, or me and friends, me and family, we'll get together and we'll watch all the games. So yeah, that's typical Sunday for me.
I love it. Yeah, sweating like me. I thought my internet went out. I think it did for a split second. I'm back, so I got to ask you these quick questions in case I cut off again.
Yeah.
You were talking about, or Tambo asked a good question about you putting in like the lineups, like how you saw it that Sunday morning. You got home late Saturday, maybe you woke up hungover, all that. But because I was talking to my buddies when I was talking, I'm like, man, like if I'm in his spot, you just won 200K, 100K, all this, like I'd be seeing it so clearly, and I would be like, yeah, this a winner, that's a winner. Like that's how I'd feel. But you, like Tambo brought up good points when I didn't really think of, like, yeah, maybe you do take more shortcuts or you don't care as much or like stuff like that. So what kind of end of the spectrum, if any, were you on?
Yeah, so it's funny because I told like everyone, I was like, look, one of my goals before 2023 ends is I'm going to win the million on DraftKings. And I had it written down, which is funny. And my buddy called me right before the show and was laughing about that because he had seen that. And when I got home Saturday, and obviously I didn't like before when I'm playing, obviously it's a hobby. It's enjoyable. It's not my income. It's not my work. So it's something that I do for fun. So once I had won the 200, I didn't feel like I was just like, I'm hot right now. Like I'm going to keep playing. And I told Tambo, it's funny. So my cousin, we were in the weight room on Friday, and he said, are you going to play this weekend or something? I said, yeah. And I'm going to call you when I win the million. And he was like, yeah, okay. And so,
oh my God,
after the afternoon games ended, I called him. He was like, hello. And I was like, guess what? And he was like, no, you didn't. And I was like,
that is crazy.
So he drove to my house and he was like, no way. Like, what are the odds of that? So
you were seeing it clear as day for sure. And I just got one more question.
Yeah.
So like when Hoop won a milli, he got his big, every person on the thing, a poster, his wife got it for him. When a lot of people win big, you get jerseys and stuff like that. Is there any ultimate plan? Is there, a jersey you're going to frame up? Any plan at all, or it's just another day for you?
Yeah, so I have like a little game room in my upstairs with some TVs, and I have I have like a picture of when I won the NBA one, and then I have a picture of some of the 100K things. But Hoop's going to put me in touch with I think it's his brother-in-law or someone, and I'm going to get a big thing to go up there, so it'll be cool.
For sure. Killer B said he liked your idea too, Hoop. I don't know if he ended up getting it. So
he reached out.
Hoop's starting to trend.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Cool. I can't take any credit for it. I will say that.
Yeah, the wife.
What about a follow-up though? What about all this money? I think that's the people don't want to ask us in the chat, but I'm always curious. I don't know too. We didn't chat. We chatted some last night over the past week when you've been hitting these scores and stuff. It's awesome, but like, what do you do day to day? You don't have to tell us exactly if you don't want, but like, what's your day to day like versus how will this change things? Any plans for the money? I think that's what people always wonder when they see these kind of heaters or just winning the million in general.
Yeah. So I do private investment stuff, so mainly focused real estate. Day to day, nothing will change. there's a foundation in Fort Worth that I do basketball at, and it's got a great staff and it's got a great mission helping kids. It's Athletic Performance Ranch, and I'll probably give back to them some.
Nice.
And then other than that, no real plans. Just keep going.
No special prize, like maybe you're just gonna put it all into the Showdown Mega Millie tonight. Another Millie.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe max enter tonight, see what happens.
Yeah, so I guess that's on the last question that I do have. Colton brought it up. So like, dude, you now have $1 million more to play with. Like, you're already doing well. Like, you talked about learning your lesson and stuff. What are you staying at the same exact stakes? Is it I feel good this day? Do you even know? Or I mean, you just won it yesterday. Do you even know?
Yeah, so I haven't even really thought about like where do I go from here as far as playing and size wise and all that. Obviously, I'm going to keep playing just because I love doing it. I'm passionate about it, all that. But
it's free rolling for a while.
Yeah, like as far as tonight, I don't even know if I'll play the slate. I'm playing in a men's league basketball game, so I won't even get to watch it. So
I'll throw in a single bullet.
That's
baby.
awesome.
You got to put something in. You got to
say you did it. If you can go back to back like that, that would be incredible. But
single bullet, Millie, that would be insane.
That would be crazy if we got it again.
I tried calling my shot yesterday with the boys on the show. I got a King of the Beach ticket out of it. Not quite $1 million, but it was a decent day. And Hoop, you had a good day. A lot of members had a good day. Maybe I'll see if these guys have more, Dalton. But my thing would be, get you out of here, not spend all day with us if you don't want to. But just to ask, like, a lot of this stuff came out. You probably saw it in the Discord yesterday. There's people that see this and they're always very happy for you and they mean it and they're congratulating you, but obviously they're waiting on their turn. Like, how come I'm not getting these big wins or that? And I said it today. I did a Tambo talk, not a TED talk. Thanks for coming to my talk. I said, this is the thing. People are hoping, like, you can't just sign up to a site and win. That's just not how it works. If that happens, that'd be amazing for you. That's what we would hope. I hope I win every day too. It's just we have to realize that's not how it works. Maybe some of the thoughts you could say about your past leading up to this, and then how your take or your feel is about that, because it's not the way it works, right?
Yeah, I agree completely. And obviously, I would say join a site because they do help and you get all the information and it saves you so much time. As far as the other stuff, I mean, like, there's so many variables that go on in a Sunday. Like, people get hurt, there's so many things that can happen that you had a good lineup and it just didn't work out. And I think last year when I was kind of new to it, I wasn't understanding like game theory, leverage, all that stuff. And so the more you just play and the more you listen to shows like this show and the more you read content and learn from people who have done it and who are in y'all's position and stuff like that, the more knowledge you gain, the more experience you gain, the easier it becomes. And I think that's what happened to me. Like, I started off as a beginner, just like, oh, this is cool, throw in some lineups, see if I can win. But I didn't understand all the ins and outs of it. And once you do and you realize that a lot of stuff's out of your control, you have to get extremely lucky too. Like, it takes an extraordinary amount of luck. And no matter what someone puts out there content-wise, there's still things that happen that it's just part of it. And honestly, that's what makes it fun, right? Like, the craziness of it all. So
it's how you get the sweat in the end, or like, it's like maybe it's that injury that leads to now you have a position. It can hurt you too, but like you said, that's part of the game that we play. And I'm glad you said that, because I think that's kind of key. People see this score and all these flames, besides Kyle Pitts. Of course, he still can't get you a flame, but 14's not bad for the price. But just saying it, it's like they don't think about all the other variables and things that had to happen to go in to make this be the one. So I love that piece of advice that you brought up. Title, did you have any final questions for Dalton before we go to Hoop?
No, not really, man. Just take it all in. Really cool. I mean, you can be the best player in the world and never win a milli, and I mean that's the odds are in that favor for sure. So you got to get lucky. And then like for everyone out there, all the pros, you see pros sometimes that are more vocal on Twitter about their downswings. Some of the best, 500K, 600K. I mean, tournament life's tough, man. There's no doubt about that. But enjoy it, and I love your approach. Tomorrow's the same thing. The next day is the same thing. I'd be the same way. So I love it.
Sure. Hoopster.
Just my last questions revolve around celebration and or celebrations moving forward. Do you have anything planned? Like, what did you do last night? And then do you have anything planned here in the next few days?
Yeah. So yesterday, so I checked and I think I was winning like 77,000 or something. I was in the top 7, and there was still like 10 minutes left of the late games in the fourth quarter. And I had St. Brown, Cup, and Kyron left. And the guys below me, I was looking at all the lineups, and one guy had Swift, the guy who was right behind me. And I guess the other guy that was maybe in like 15th place. He had AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. So I was like, dang, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. So like all the other games ended, and there was like 8 minutes left of that Eagles game. And I had like a 15, 16 point lead. And like the next 3 plays, they go straight to Swift. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking at my dad, and I'm like, and then like he gets tackled for a loss, and we're like high five, and we're like,
yeah.
And then the Jets get like a crazy turnover, and Breece Hall scores right away. And I'm like, oh, great. Now here comes Jalen Hurts to air it out to A.J. Brown. And luckily they got an interception. So when I won, I was like looking at it, I was like just waiting for a stat correction. I was like, okay, like something's got to give. And then when it was official, I was in shock. I mean, like my cousin and stuff came over, and we're watching the Ranger Astros game. I'm a Rangers fan, even though I'm wearing that. But yeah, I was just like sitting there, just like smiling at my phone, like this is crazy. And then, but celebration wise, I think I'll take a few friends out and buy the beer, and then I have a bunch of friends texting me like, when are we going to Vegas? When are we going to Vegas?
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah. People want the trips. They want to hop on board. Title's out again, it looks like, huh?
Yeah, he's gone. Anything else? Final thoughts before we get our guy out of here and we'll start breaking down this showdown slate?
Damn, just exciting stuff. I mean, such a cool story. We're, like I said, honored to have you as a part of our community. Nice guy, obviously, and man, wish you nothing but the best moving forward. And thanks again for hopping on with us. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the community and all y'all put out. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. Congratulations again. Obviously a lot of fun. It's a dream for many to get to this spot. And we were just awesome, just to see you for the little heater that you've been on and then to come back and get this one. This is just the icing on the cake. The chat does want to know, though, final thing for you, then you can go. I know you said men's league and you may not even hop in the streets, but you had to give out a captain pick. Let's do a captain pick, not a full core. Let's do a captain pick for tonight. Dallas and the Chargers. We're about to break this down. Who's your captain pick, the Dalton pick of the night?
Man, I think it's going to be CD after all the comments made his way, after all the attention, kind of all that negative attention. I don't know. I'm a Cowboy fan, so take that for what it is. But
he tells the truth now. Yeah.
I might be pushing the chips. I like the sound of that.
Maybe that might be the play.
Yeah, I like that. Awesome, Dalton. Well, man, thank you so much for joining us. Anybody who's a member at SHIPIT Nation can reach out to you in the Discord. I'm sure. Don't feel pressure to respond. They're all begging. I put a teaser out today, like he might join the show. I knew we chatted about it. I just didn't get a confirmation. Yeah. And everyone's like, "Oh, please, please." It was like, we don't got to beg the guy. He's a nice dude. He's gonna hop on. Good Texas boy, I think you said, right?
Yeah. Forward Texas.
Great, man. Well, awesome, man. Congrats. Appreciate it. Reach out anytime. You're welcome here. We do wish you nothing but the best, and thank you so much for hopping on.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate you all.
Yeah, later, man.
See you.
Take care.